Hello and welcome back to the Welsh Wire. We are so glad that you joined us today. We've got a terrific guest to talk with today, Jeanne Bolhuis. Jeanne is the Chief Consulting Officer of Kaiser in beautiful Kalamazoo, Michigan. Jeanne, welcome to the Welsh Wire.
Thank you for having me, Sheri. Good to see you again. We go way back, so I'm excited to be here.
We do go way back, and it's been so fun to work with you over the years. Jeanne, tell us a little bit about your role at Kaiser and what Kaiser does for those who don't know.
Sure. Thank you. So Kaiser essentially we're an insurance group, but we offer all different services, and one of them is HR consulting. So relative to that area, I'm in that seat working with companies, businesses, HR people, C-suite individuals, pretty much anybody that has a need to really grow their people and their business, and they're looking for opportunities and solutions to do that in the world of HR. And so it's an exciting opportunity. I feel blessed to do it. I'm excited every day to wake up and work with our clients and help in that way. And it's everything from leadership to training to compliance, engagement, friendship, you name it, we do it. And it's different for every client. So it's a really good time to be able to help people, because it's been a challenging year for sure, especially in the world of HR.
Oh my gosh, it has been so challenging. And so if you're listening today as a business leader and you're like, oh, two HR people, we're going to talk more HR. It's really going to go beyond that. So stick with us as we talk, because what we really want to dial in today is to talk about the concept of flexibility. Flexibility has been a key word. I know personally, I have learned to be so much more flexible in the way I operate my business and the way I think and respond. Yeah, it's been forced on us, right? But some have responded better than others. And you've seen a lot during this time, Jeanne. So talk a bit about some of the challenges that you've been helping organizations address to stay flexible during the pandemic.
Yeah, it's unique, right? We've never been through this before. And I think sometimes as HR professionals, one of the things that we strive to do is have the answers. We want to take good care of people. And that's, I think, been the biggest challenge that I have seen with our clients and in the HR world, is not having the answers, because we haven't been here before. And also things are changing, right? So
all
quickly.
the time. Yes.
All the time. And so I think that that's probably been one of the biggest challenges, particularly when it comes to the regulatory piece. And so really being able to help companies address that, right? What's going on with the Family First Corona Virus Response Act, and how do I handle these leaves? And somebody's out sick, and can they come back to work? And what do I do with unemployment? I'm going to lay people off. And each situation is different for every case, every client, every employee, but also they haven't been there before. So they don't know, and they want to do the right things right. And so you're talking about flexibility, that's a complete evolution of the HR world, and that we're referencing best practices, and there isn't anything to reference here.
Right. No one's built a manual for this.
No.
In so many instances, we're flying by the seat of our pants, which is dangerous. And just when you think you've got it dialed in and figure out, then in a couple of days, it changes again. And, no one's been more challenged, I think, in organizations than human resource groups in general. I mean, you and I work with them a lot in what we do. But, in particular, what are you hearing from HR leaders about their personal challenges, the challenges within the group that they manage and lead?
I think the biggest thing from my perspective I've seen this past year is kind of the emotional drain on HR. Yeah. Because most people that are in the field of HR are there to take care of people and keep the human in human resources. And so when you're not able to do that in a meaningful and impactful way with your employees and your people and your business, it takes a toll. It's an emotional drain.
Yeah, it does.
And that, I think, I've noticed the most. I have spent more time listening and maybe empathizing and just relating, because I've been in, the HRC for 30 plus years, and just being able to have an opportunity to talk through how it's feeling.
Right.
how do we get to the other side? How do we stay positive for our people? And what are some creative and innovative things that we can do to get there, but also still take good care of ourselves, right? That emotional
Right.
impact it's been deep rooted and like I have never seen in my career.
Yeah, it's tremendous. And, I did a lot of that right when things first struck, is contact a lot of my clients, HR
Yes.
leaders and leaders in companies, just to say, how are you doing?
Yeah, you're
Forget the
so good
business
about
we
that.
need to do together, but how are you doing? You know the old adage, people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. I mean,
Yes.
so many people
Yes.
just
True.
unleashed. And later on, it was funny because I even had some people like send me an email or call me back and apologize, like, I'm so sorry I dropped all that on you. And I thought, no, I mean, we're human beings first,
Yes.
right? We need to really care about the state that we're in. And HR folks in particular are carrying the weight of this burden for the whole company, because they're the ones that are really being asked to deal with the many challenges that are facing the employees on so many levels. So I guess a good recommendation, we can pause right here, Jeanne, and say a good recommendation for business leaders right now is to say, show some love to your HR people, right?
Yes. Yes. 100%. And
Like,
tolerance and grace, like we're trying to do with, everything else, whether it's service, right. Or other way and businesses that you're interacting with, like there's just that reminder of that. But for
yes.
business leaders who have HR people, really just being able to understand that toll it's taking and the stress that it creates, and having some empathy and maybe tolerance and grace that you might not have had previously.
Right,
Because,
right. So
they're,
important. Yeah. Cause it's
yeah,
easy to just give, like, you're doing your thing over here. I'm doing my thing
yes.
over here. We all got our lanes. We got to stay in them. There's so much going on and changing all the time. And it's really easy to lose sight of how buried HR
Yes.
leaders are getting right now at this point. We talk about mental health issues. We talk about taking care of all of our employees, but we got to take care of HR too. Because those people
Yes.
are doing a mighty work for us right now. And one of the challenges that I've heard too, which just continues, it was happening prior to the pandemic, it continues now, but in strange and unusual ways, is of course the talent acquisition.
Yes.
Like,
Very much so. This has come to a forefront, though, in a way I feel like, Sheri, we've not seen in our careers,
yeah,
because the whole platform for recruiting shifted, right? And
yep,
so, in the way that either people couldn't work, or tied to unemployment benefits or safety or remote work and on-site work, or I mean, there are all these variables that created even more of a talent acquisition challenge on
yes,
top of what we might have been dealing with previously. So it's
yes,
like a perfect storm.
totally.
We were already trying to problem solve that, and then you throw all this on top of it. To your point, it came to a head for sure
Right.
with, I think, everyone in HR, right, or any business that was looking to recruit talent.
Right, right. And companies, we have found are in so many different places right now, right? So you
Yes.
have companies whose businesses have really been rocked in the
Yes.
pandemic, right? And
Yes.
they've
Yes.
been forced to downsize
Yeah.
their companies, and which includes, I might have to let somebody in HR, a person or two go, or,
Yes.
maybe I don't have anyone anymore, right? So
Yes.
now when you need to hire, those frontline workers, hourly work, entry level positions that are the most challenging to fill right now, you really, you don't have much means or ability to do it. And maybe
Yes.
you had a recruiter on your team. Well, now that recruiter has been let go. How are you filling open positions? In
Yes.
addition
Yes.
to being a nurse and a counselor and everything else that HR has to do.
Yeah, and I think to that point too, that the sources that we might have used previously that were successful in some way, Sheri, have changed, have
Yeah,
shifted or evolved, or don't exist any longer, right? Like
right.
if you were maybe posting an ad and you'd get 50 resumes, that isn't occurring anymore for a great number of positions. And so even that's shifted. Sourcing options that you might have had that were successful previously are not. And now
Oh, yeah.
we have to get creative in a way that we've never done before, with predictive modeling for positions and sourcing that talent acquisition and partnering with others and things. And for every business too.
Right.
I have no client, and we have every size and every industry, there isn't anyone that's not dealing with that challenge in that their HR world or spectrum, whatever that may look like.
Right. And it's especially acute, I think, in those more entry level and
Yes,
hourly positions. It is
yes,
absolutely acute there. And so,
yes.
even if you have, even if you've been fortunate that your business is good and,
Mhm.
you've got things running well, you've got a ton of hourly openings to fill. And if you've got an internal recruiter, that's all they can focus on is
Yes,
filling those
yes,
hourly roles. So, you better hope you lose a C-suite person or a manager level because there's
yes,
no bandwidth left over to be able
yes,
to take care of that. I
yeah,
mean, it's really challenging. And then, there are other companies in yet a different situation where despite the pandemic, they're blowing the doors off, right? I mean,
yes,
they are
yes,
going fantastic. They've pivoted and found a new business model or just been able to take advantage of the times we're living in right now and just really are finding we need to launch a new business unit. We need to move ahead in a given area. We need to bring in new talent, but shoot, we can't do it. We don't have the bandwidth to do it internally because we're taking care of so many other things.
yeah, for sure. And even if you have, let's say, that full-time recruiter, right, or somebody that's normally doing that,
Yeah.
their plates are always full, right? I've sat in that seat.
Yes.
It's always full. No matter how many you have on your HR team or how few or what role they're playing, they're doing a million other things from, payroll to IT to recruiting to HR to the handbooks to, so now with what we've dealt with in this past year, now they have everything, all of that on top of it. So the other thing I've
Right.
seen with clients, that time to fill has increased significantly, right?
It
Because
has.
they now have even less time than they had before
That's
to
right.
recruit
That's
or
right.
focus on retention.
Right.
And so that's shifted also. Even the
Yeah.
little time that they already had is now filled with all of the challenges of the times that we're in.
It's so true. It's so true. And you're a solution provider like I am, right? Like you want to
Yes,
partner with your clients and do the very best. And I sat through these past several months thinking there's got to be something more that I can do to help my clients win and be successful despite the challenges. And
yes.
that's where we recently launched a new talent acquisition model, our Flex Talent Acquisition, just for times like these. But Jeanne, you and I didn't know it at the time, but we were
We did it.
pioneers in that area when we worked together a little while ago.
Yes.
So, we tested this successfully and knew how great it would work. So my innovative idea was really one that, was really already proven we knew could make a difference for companies in their time of need. So tell our listeners a little bit about the program that you and I worked on together when Kaiser was going through some pretty explosive growth.
Yeah, for sure. You were ahead of your time, and it was a great start to something that eventually was going to be evolving to this time where essentially I think would become a need for a
Right,
lot of businesses, right?
right.
So we were really looking, as you know, to get out of that reactive mode of filling positions, particularly hard to fill positions or higher level positions, and really a partner who would know us and our business model and our growth that we were going through and our core values. Because even with HR consulting and what I do, the more I know my client, the better I can do it, the more
So
time I
true.
spend with them, right?
Yep.
And so I can find solutions much more quickly when I know their culture and their people and their structure. And so we were looking for a partner to really change that pattern and start looking at a longer term strategy for that talent acquisition and to start to be more proactive. And it was a great opportunity, to start looking at doing something more creative that wasn't being done and to do it successfully, because then we also were able to really look at what's forthcoming. Let's talk about that, Sheri. What does that mean? What will we need and when? And so I think not only did it help set us up for success when it came to talent acquisition, I think it helps set you as our partner up for success also,
100%.
um, to be successful in the end, which ultimately is a win-win for everybody, you, us,
Absolutely.
and who we hire.
Absolutely. That's right. Yeah. And that long-term partnership with the flexible structure to design it however you need it. You know,
Yes.
Do we need to partner for 6 months? Do we need to partner for 12 months? Are we
Yes.
talking about 3 hires? Are we talking about 10 hires? I mean, it really doesn't matter. And what are the positions? That kind of doesn't matter either.
That's right.
Let's figure out what your needs are and how we can meet that quickly, shorten up time to fill with great talent, and provide a savings in the
Yes.
process as well. I mean, it's a complete win-win on all levels. And that's, I mean, we recognize that from working it
Yeah.
successfully with you and your team at Kaiser. And that's, really why we introduced the Flex Talent Acquisition Model.
And I want to comment quick on that too, Sheri, because I loved that you used the flex terminology as you rolled this model out and really formalized it, because I even remember a time where you were looking to fill a position and I called and said, Sheri, I am so sorry. I have a position now that is more important, right? And you were like, good news. We can do both because we're in this longer term relationship or
Right.
partnership. So I didn't have to start picking and choosing, oh, I'm going to use Sheri for this role, but not this role. Right.
Right. Right.
And that's what that flexibility is all about with your
Oh,
business.
absolutely.
I mean, the business model and the seats that you need could change at any time, but now more than ever. So I think the title that you used was very applicable. But it also is the actuality of what happens when you're looking at talent acquisition.
For sure, for sure. And it's really less and less of a transactional kind of business, right?
Very much.
And that's
Yes.
why this model makes sense, because you have to be in it as a partner for the long haul. So, in the most challenging of times, like we have right now, I mean, it's important for all of us as leaders to find good partners to work with.
Yes.
Folks that we can lean on to help us with finding creative solutions, flexible solutions, right, to help get us through and help us be successful in leading the organizations that we run today. So, Jeanne, we are so thrilled to have the opportunity to work with you and your team at Kaiser and come up with that flexible solution when you needed it.
It was a great partnership then, and I'm glad for the continued partnership, and I'm really excited that you're offering this, because I know certainly with the clients that I work with in the world of HR consulting, this is relevant. It is what we are looking at for trends in the future. And it's not necessarily anymore going to be about a want, it's going to be about a need.
Yeah, right.
Really.
Right. And those who can really dial in to what their clients need,
yeah,
and deliver on
yes.
it as a partner, as a trusted partner, are going to be the ones that succeed. And Jeanne, you've done a phenomenal job of that with your clients at Kaiser, a truly phenomenal job. I want to stop right now and just say, listen, if our listeners want to get a hold of you, Jeanne, because I suspect some of them may want to, and say, what can Jeanne do for us? How can Kaiser help us with some of the challenges that we're facing right now? What's the best way for our listeners to get in touch with you, Jeanne?
For sure. Pretty much any way they want to, but I'm here direct at Kaiser, so you can always call us here directly at the phone number here, which is the 3. I was pulling it up because I need to know it by memory. I use my cell phone all the time, 381-3570, and I'm at extension 338, so you can dial me direct. You can also email me, which is the Jeanne Bolhuis at thekaiseragency.com. Connect with me on LinkedIn. I love making connections there. And I would love to hear from anyone, help anyone, and actually just talk to anyone. A lot of what we do is just conversations with HR people and or businesses that don't have HR people about solutions, right? What are their challenges and what are some opportunities and solutions for them? And guess what? Who's to help? If it's us, good news. If it's not, let's talk about who can help you on those solutions. Because we all have to take care of each other during these times. Oh my gosh.
So true. So true. And I have to say that is exactly who you are, because you and I have become friends through this process. And I certainly know that you're a trusted individual that I call when I've got a brainstorm or an idea or a question, and you do the same. And it's great to have people like that in your camp. So I really encourage our listeners to get to know you too, in a real professional way, because you've got great insight and great learnings to share about what you do. So we really thank you.
Sheri, I'm going to shoot that right back to you. It goes both ways. And I'll use an example you said earlier, and it resonated with me. And it is so true how, if you're connecting with someone, whoever it may be, you're starting by asking, how are you doing? you do that every single time, and that matters because ultimately it's really about the relationship and taking care of each other, right? If
Yes.
business comes out of that, that all works itself out, and I have learned that absolutely.
Yeah.
With what's happened with the HR consulting, business in the last couple of years, it is really all about taking care of each other and caring. And I love that you asked the
Authentically.
question authentically, and
Yep.
that matters.
Yeah.
And those ultimately end up being the deep relationships that where you really are taking care of each other. So thank you for always providing that to your friends and networks and partners and your business too.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. Well, again, listeners, thank you for tuning in today. We've had a fun conversation with our
Thank you.
friend Jeanne Bolhuis. Jeanne, again, is the Chief Consulting Officer at Kaiser in Kalamazoo. And be sure to reach out to her if you've got any questions about how she might be able to help you. And Jeanne, thanks for helping us process staying flexible, being flexible during this pandemic. We really appreciate your insights today.
I'm so grateful to be here and for all of the partnerships, and be sure to reach out to Sheri also because she's got a good new relevant rollout and it's been tested and proven. So I hope that will help some people as well in the future. So thank you.
Thanks so much, Jeanne.